All right, we are going to do a book review, plus we are going to make the update to my book log. So if you're new to my blog channel, I really don't, I did quite a few book reviews there back to back, but I guess just whenever I read, I'll be posting my review like on a Friday. Plus, I started a book log, so if you haven't seen this, I'll kind of dive into it in a second, but we've got 2 new books to input in here today, so I'm excited about that. Plus, I'm also kind of excited that it's like a new set of series that has nothing to do with the blue barbarian aliens, although love them, and I'm gonna read Barbarian's Redemption again today. So yeah, so right now, and also just like I have tabs, so on the second tab is where I'll start putting some of these one-off books, I guess you could say. So yeah, I'll dive into the book log a little bit later in this video, but we're gonna review 2 really interesting books that I have so much to say about them. I don't know how short I can honestly keep today's video. I have to start by saying I'm very, dare I say the word pleasantly, like I am pleasantly surprised with myself, because I'm one of those people where when I like a certain thing, I don't stray outside of it. I do this with movies, I do this with food. I just have my things and I just don't entertain anything outside of that, the circle of things. And my current book thing is historical romance novels. Joanna Lindsey, Julie Garwood, like I'm good, I'm solid. But I own all of their books and I've read all of their books, especially Joanna Lindsey. I must have read each of Joanna Lindsey's books at least 10 times, if not more, each. And Joanna Lindsey has like 50 novels. So that should tell you about that. So I'm just really pleasantly surprised, 1, that I'm reading different stuff, and 2, that I've really enjoyed it. So now I'm also gonna preface this by saying that my cough is kind of back, and it takes so much to edit and clip out each cough. And I have to restart some of my words again, because what happens is I'll go to cough in the middle of me saying a word, and it's a whole thing, and through editing it's a pain because I have to cut and slice so many times. So I'd like to kind of not do that because in today's video, because I feel like this is going to be a lengthier video and it would just be easier on time saving for me if I could drag and drop and not edit. So if I ugly cough, or if I cough into my hands, I'll, just throwing that out there. Okay, I'm also 100% Italian, and this is gonna happen, okay? All right, we are going to be reviewing Icebreaker, and oddly enough, the second book, which I don't have a hard copy of, I read it on my Kindle, but I'll throw up a picture here. I'm actually looking at it right now because I bought it from Amazon. I'm just waiting for it to arrive, and it's called Offside. Now, I'll dive into how this book kind of came into the picture, but I was actually scrolling on TikTok and I saw a book recommendation for Offside, and it immediately caught my attention. So first thing I did was I hopped onto Amazon and I ordered the physical copy of the book because I just like physical copies. But I was so intrigued by the TikTok that I couldn't wait. And because I have Kindle and Kindle Unlimited, it cost me $0 to read the book. I will link my Kindle down below. FYI, this is the Kindle Oasis, and like whether you're right or left-handed, it has a really good feel to it. And also the screen doesn't look glossy. Like, look at that. Like it looks like paper. I don't know like how to describe it, but it's kind of nuts to me. So yeah, like it's so easy on the eyes, and there's like different settings of lighting and all that. Okay, so Offside is the book we're going to talk about first, and then we're going to talk about Icebreaker. And Offside is a hockey player book, I guess you could say. So it's about a hockey player, and it also takes place like it's college. So I believe Chase is a senior, so Chase Carter is the male, and then it's Bailey James is the girl. And it has such a good overall like storyline. Basically, she goes to one college and Chase goes to another, but they're right next to each other and they're rival schools essentially. And Bailey's brother, Derek, is a hockey player in their college. With him and Bailey go to the same college. And Bailey's boyfriend is the captain of their hockey team. So she's dating a hockey player, her brother's a hockey player, and the school's rivalry is a big deal, and she is very loyal to her school. It starts off fast. I love books like that. I don't like a slow start because it just feels boring and draggy, and it doesn't start like that at all. It starts off by, it's her 21st birthday and she gets dumped by her hockey boyfriend who she's been on and off with, and it just really hasn't been like the best relationship. But she also didn't see like this breakup coming. So anyways, she ends up going to the hockey game like the next day because her brother's on the team, and so she's really dealing with a lot. Her roommates are also girlfriends to the hockey players, and I actually was so surprised by how crappy they treated her. The moment that she wasn't with Luke anymore, everyone just kind of like turned their back on her, and bye. Bailey takes care of herself in this, and I really liked Bailey's character like a lot. And Chase is probably one of my top favorite like male characters ever written. So yeah, this book really surprised me. And she goes to a club essentially, and comes Chase. Now, she's also going to school for like journalism, and she loves sports, and she grew up with 3 brothers, and so she was very more tomboy than she was girly. But she's written as, or from Chase's point of view, she's written as like just drop dead gorgeous. And I really liked how the author, Avery Keelan, I love how she wrote how often Chase says this from his point of view, because she writes from both of their point of views, and which I also really liked. And in Chase's mind, he just over and over and over was like, she's drop dead hot. Just so you know, obviously it's college kids, so it's definitely written from that generation, if you will. So anyways, she goes to this club, and you know, 2 of her other good friends that she's not roommates with, who don't really know anything about hockey, they're not dating any hockey players, those girls turn out to be good friends. Like they have Bailey's back. And even her brother really annoyed me in most of the book. He just seemed really selfish and unaware of like what Luke was doing to her. And we'll get into Luke, because what a psychopath. Like, seriously psychopath. Guy's got problems. Anyways, she's at this club, and Chase is there. And she knows exactly who he is because she knows all about sports. It's the rival team, and he is like the bad boy of that school. He's the bad boy of the hockey team. He's actually like the instigator. So he's known to instigate stuff on the ice, but the fouls get thrown on the other team. He like instigates the other players into getting them to like throw the foul, I guess. So he has special skills on the ice, which I also really liked this. I liked, because it was a hockey book, we got hockey in it. Whereas, what's that one book I read? The Rule Don't Date the Coach's Daughter. I talked about that book and how it was a football book, but you really just didn't get football in it, but like whatever. So I like that we got hockey. Like I don't know if this author either did her research or she just knows about hockey, but yeah. So anyways, she's like, absolutely not. And Chase gets any and every girl he wants. Any and every girl. He is written as just gorgeous. And even Bailey doesn't like try to deny it to herself, which I really like that too. I like when characters just aren't stubborn, if that makes sense. I didn't think Bailey was stubborn. Bailey just was shooting him down because she's like, no, you're the enemy. And she's very loyal. And she's like, absolutely not. She can't stand him. She can't stand the guy. And so she ends up getting super drunk. And long story short, he basically takes her home. And she's so drunk that he takes her back to his place and he kind of like cleans her up. She throws up, like all that. And so that's kind of how it starts. And the beauty is the next time they see each other. So he's pieced it together. He, at this point, Chase knows who she is. He knows she's Bailey James, and he calls her James, by the way. And she calls him Carter, Chase Carter. And he knows that she is Derek James's little sister, and he knows that she is Luke Morrison's ex-girlfriend. And obviously, because they're hockey players, they know each other, they hate each other, rival schools, blah, blah, blah. So it's the next game, and they're playing against each other again. And Bailey doesn't want to go. You know, she's been dealing with the breakup, and it's been hurting her. But her brother guilt trips her into going to the game, even though he knows, like, Luke breaks up with her. So she goes to the game for her brother, and, which I love the moment when Chase comes on the ice, sees her, and gives her a wink. Please. And then after, what I really liked too was, God, honestly, it's like one of those scenes where you kind of wish it happens in real life, because I would have stood there and like just watched the whole thing go down like this. Like, but Luke comes out of the locker room afterwards and he's got a new girlfriend. It's been like 2 days, essentially. And everyone seems to know about it, which is the awful part. So like her roommates are like, oh, sorry, we didn't know she was gonna be here. And she's like, what? We were just boyfriend and girlfriend like 48 hours ago. Like, so at this point, Bailey knows that everyone's just kind of known about this. And it's really hurt her. She's like, what? Like, does anybody like care about me? So Chase sees all this and he comes out and he beelines straight for her and he puts his arm around her, and Luke flips out. Honestly, as he should. And so, not to like go, you know, chapter by chapter on this is what happens here. Like, I'm not trying to tell the full story, but that's kind of how it starts. And so she lets him walk off with her. And everyone's like, oh my God, her brother's watching this, Luke's watching this, her roommates are watching this, and they think that she's committed the ultimate sin of sins, when in reality, they're all treating her like she's absolute garbage. You know, there's no respect thrown Bailey's way. And Bailey's mad. She's mad at Chase for what he did. But he's like, she's like, my life is falling apart and you just made it worse. He goes, I seriously doubt it, kind of thing. And he's right, if anything, he like saved her. And so from there, the book is really kind of all about how Bailey starts to really see, like she starts to open her eyes and she's like, I don't ever want to be with Luke again. Like, I don't even want to be around my roommates. And it gets to a point where it's so bad. Like, Luke shows up to her own house with his little new girlfriend, by the way, to parade her in her face because they're having a couples night in her own house. And they just broke up because her roommates' boyfriends are the hockey players, Paul and someone else. And I'm just like, you're supposed to be my friend and you let my ex come here with his new girlfriend. Yeah. So she calls Chase. This is really when stuff starts going down. She calls Chase and she's like, yeah, can you come get me? And he does. And when he shows up, Luke, of course, is mad and they walk outside and she's like, and there's a window and he goes, everyone's watching this right now. She's like, yeah. And he's like, it'd be pretty awesome if we kissed in front of them. And she's like, do it. And the scene is written really well. Like, it's the best kiss of her life. And I was just so happy for her. But yeah, I really wish, like, book or not, I would have been there like this. I would have been like I just know I would have. And then we get into Chase's character. The moment that he meets Bailey, it's no one else. He does not sleep with anyone else. He doesn't look at anyone else. He becomes, and I love how he's written, he becomes so in love with her, and he knows it. He's like, I'm fucked. Like, sorry, but like, okay. This book has a lot of cursing in it. And he knows he's clingy. He knows, like, and he's not stubborn about it. He just wants her. He wants to be with her, and he hates how she's being treated. And on top of that, in all of this, Luke is actually becoming quite the stalker. And it's honestly, I was kind of mad. Like, in a real world situation, I would have shut that down so fast on Luke's behavior. Like, what's your deal with what I'm doing, who I'm doing it with? You have a girlfriend. And that would have been the end of it. But he just harasses her. Like, that's the perfect word to use. Luke harasses Bailey the entire novel, and the shit he pulls in the end, I don't want to give too much away just in case, like, I've piqued your interest and you want to read this book, which I'll link both of these down below. But I have to say that Chase, he's top. He's top, and right now in my mind, I have Chase as number one. Because right now I'm like trying to pull all the different males I've ever read. Some of my favorites come to mind with, like, Joanna Lindsay and Julie Garwood, but Chase just, like, top of the list. And Beck from the Blue Barbarian books. We're gonna put Beck in the number 2 slot because Chase is protective. He's enamored, adores, loves her. And he's this bad guy, and he's not a bad guy. He is the best guy for Bailey, and it's absolutely everything. I'm trying to, like, not get the stories mixed up because Icebreaker actually ends up being very similar, but I'm trying to think of, because I read them back to back, so the stories are kind of slightly jumbled in my head, but Bailey actually ends up becoming best friends with Chase's best friend, Dallas. That's his name, Dallas. And he's also on the hockey team. And is Dallas the captain or is Chase the captain? I don't know who's captain. I forget who's captain there. But they're both on the Falcons, or on the... Is the Falcons them or is the Falcons this? I think the Falcons... I think maybe Bulldogs and something. Whatever. So Dallas has this person he's seeing, and she doesn't want to commit, but Bailey kind of helps with all that with Shiv. Her name's Shiv, that's what they call her. And she finally commits to Dallas, which love. And they decide to become roommates, even though they hardly know each other, because Bailey's like, I gotta get out of this situation. Like, I can't even bring Chase over there. And at this point, she's been with Chase for like a month, even though she hasn't made it official with him. And in that month, he has only thought about her, only wanted to be with her. And he fell in love with her. And in that month span, she and Shiv have decided to become roommates. She would have become roommates with the other two girls that she was at the club with, but they didn't have the space. So her and Shiv have a situation where they both need somewhere new to live. So they become roommates, but they also kind of like live with Chase and Dallas, and anyways, it's really cute. I absolutely love the book. I'm telling you, 10 out of 10. It's spicy as well. It's not as like the Blue Barbarian books. Like the Blue Barbarian books is like, if you've read it, you just know. The Blue Barbarian books is like literally chapters and chapters and chapters of spicy scenes. Whereas Offside is obviously more about like a bunch of people and they're in this whole situation, but there's spice. Top level spice in that book, okay? Just letting y'all know. The other thing about Chase too is what he does for her parents. I'm not gonna say it because I just feel like there's a 99% chance you guys have not read this book. And I don't want to ruin all of it for you, but what he does for her parents and how he gets Derek involved, and Derek sees it. Like at this point, Derek is like, he's not the bad guy we all think he is. And this is when he gets Derek. Like Derek switches, and then Derek starts realizing what Luke has actually done to his sister, and he goes off. And Luke then threatens Chase to break up with her over video stuff, and Chase does it to protect her. What else can I honestly say about this book that I really liked without kind of giving too much away? I can't stress enough how much I loved Chase's character. And I really, really liked Bailey's character too. She was perfection for him. And I love how like into it she becomes his girlfriend. Oh, there's one scene where she goes to like this big hockey thing that they do, and you have to buy like your table because it's like charity kind of thing, and the table is like $5,000 or whatever it is, and the guys take their girls, and so Dallas takes Shiv and he takes her, and her family have no money like at all, and she's working to get the scholarship. She wants it so bad. And that's what Luke uses to threaten Chase with. He's like, if this gets out, she's going to lose that scholarship. So, don't you worry. Luke gets his. Luke gets his in the best way possible. That's all I'm going to tell you. And so they're at this thing where not only are they there, but the NHL is there. Like big professional players are there, and on one side of the room, Luke is stalking her. He watches her all the time, and Chase knows it because Chase watches this and he can't stand it. He's always worried about her, and I just really liked that about him. Like, he had a game, and he knew he had a game with another team the same time that Bailey's hockey team had a game with someone else, and she had to be there to like cover the game because she's like in journalism and whatever. And he didn't like it. He didn't like that she was gonna have to be at this game by herself, because Shiv was gonna be at their game watching Dallas, and he couldn't be there to be with her because he was playing. And he knew how the roommates were treating her. He knew basically, like, at this point her brother wasn't backing her up. And he tells her, he's like, call me for anything and everything. I want you to call me and tell me where you're at, and that, you know, when you leave the game, if anything happens, she's like, you're gonna be playing. He's like, I don't care, you call me. And so she's like, okay. She doesn't call him, and she has a run-in with Luke, and he's like, that their game is over, and Luke is in his car and he's trailing her. She's walking, and he's like harassing her, and it's like, what are you doing? Like, what's your problem? You broke up with me, you know, kind of thing. And he's like, come on, Bailey, like, you know, he starts it off with, come on, like, let's just be together kind of thing. And then when she's like, no, gross, go away, he gets mad and calls her a slut and all these things. And it's like psycho behavior. And she doesn't tell him that this happens, because then he's at his game and he's like checking his phone while he's at his game. And like, he's just, his whole world is her. And I liked it. I liked it a lot. Like, there was not one single thing about Chase I didn't like. Not one. There's sometimes maybe like one little thing that kind of like irritates me, or, you know, I'm just like, wish that didn't happen. No. Everything he does, even like the breakup, in a way, it's like flawless because of his love for her. So such a great book. And the best part is that this author gives you bonus chapters. You have to subscribe to her like newsletter. Done, easy, so worth it, because then you get the bonus chapters on kind of what happens after the end. It ends amazing, and then you get more. And in the bonus chapters, he wins the Stanley Cup. Oh, it's everything. It's everything. And also, what I really liked about Chase was he figured it out, like, that Luke breaks up with her on her 21st birthday, and he decides to redo her birthday, and he takes her ice skating in his ice rink. And, you know, she's at this point still very, like, they've been hung out a couple of times, and she's still like, no, you're the enemy, I don't like you, but she's hung out with him kind of thing. If you read it, you'll kind of understand that. But he takes her skating in his rink, and of course she can skate. You know, she grew up with brothers, and she actually played hockey, but she kind of gave it up. And so, you know, yeah, she's like the best girl for him. You know, she can keep up, and she knows sports, and he has like a fantasy draft with his players, and she tells him like who to trade and all that, and he like really listens to her. And that meant a lot to her, because when she would talk to her brother or Luke, they would just kind of laugh at her and be like, no. And she felt seen and respected by Chase. I feel like I want to keep talking about this book for the next 10 minutes, but overall, it's a hockey book. You get hockey, you get such a good storyline, honestly. Like, you get the drama, you get the heartache, which I don't like, to be honest. I like happy stuff. It wasn't even that bad, I'll say that, because like, I'm really not into that. Like, Colleen Hoover's, or whoever she is, Micah made me read a chapter of it when we went on vacation, and I was bawling my eyes out, and I was like, this isn't for me. Like, it's a little too heart-wrenching, you know what I mean? I don't like that. I like I like the easier stuff where, you know, you get the little suspense, but everything always works out. So Offside is so good. So then you're probably wondering, how did this book come into play? Well, if you watch my daughter's YouTube channel, she reviews books. Books are her thing. And she came downstairs yesterday, actually, because I read this whole book yesterday and I got a migraine from it. But she came down early yesterday morning because I had finished Offside the night before. And I was just asked her, I was like, hey, have you read Offside? And she's like, no. And I started telling, I'm like, oh my God, like, I want to read all the hockey stuff, because I knew that Micah was into like Formula One. She loves all the Formula One stuff. And I think that she had talked about hockey before, and she goes, I have some hockey recs for you. And I said, give them to me. So she goes upstairs and she brings down this book, and I remember it because I watched her video and I was like, oh, I remember her talking about this one. So it's called Icebreaker. So I got it on loan from Micah, and I don't even want to return it back to her. She loves Nate Hawkins. That's Nate Hawkins, and that's Anastasia Allen. And Micah really loves Nate Hawkins. From what she told me, he is like one of her favorite, if not like the favorite male character. And I really like Nate Hawkins too. This actually reminds me so much of Offside, but with two different stories as well. She's the grump and he's kind of the sunshine. So another hockey book, completely different schools, by the way. And he's captain of his hockey team, and she's an ice figure skater. And they go to a university where this university produces like the top ice skaters in hockey and figure skating. So they have their own arenas. Well, it starts where basically something goes down with some of his players and another school trashes their arena. So they have to come in while it's getting fixed, and they have to skate here in her arena. So that's kind of how their worlds collide. And it's very interesting because in comparison, like if I had to compare Nate Hawkins to Chase Carter, Chase is kind of written like immediately hits the ground running. The moment he sees Bailey James, it's over for him. And I wouldn't say it's written exactly like that, which I'm glad it's not, because like it's nice to have a variety. But with Nate Hawkins in comparison, every girl wants him, but the girls he wants don't want him. So there's a girl named Summer, a girl named Kitty, I think. I don't even know if that's true or not. And then Anastasia. But I have to say, it was kind of like this weird flow for him. He kind of was really pushing for them to be friends, and I'm like, that just seemed odd. Like you said one thing to her, and I don't know, it's just the beginning transition of them two was kind of like, okay. But then he realizes, you know, he's really into her. And I really love Nate Hawkins as well. Like, I'm gonna put Nate definitely in the top 5. Without thinking about all my other favorite males I've ever read, Chase Carter, Beck from the Blue Barbarian books, and Nate Hawkins. Some of my favorite males. I'm also going to link Icebreaker down below. And she's a figure skater. She's in partners. So there's a guy named Aaron. And Aaron kind of confused me. I didn't really understand. I think I didn't read it right. Because I have to admit that while I was reading this very big book, I was also kind of watching Emily in Paris, because like the new season came out. But I was so, and I want to reread this book again, but I was so confused about Aaron. I actually thought that he was written as like gay, and maybe he wasn't, because I think he obsesses about Anastasia. But he is like, he made me so mad. And in a way, I like Bailey James over Anastasia, but in the end, I really like, you know, that Anastasia wasn't too stubborn, but she really let a lot of trauma that actually didn't end up being like real, if that makes sense. Like, it was real to her, but she was adopted, and I guess she always thought that she needed to be good at figure skating, be good at what she did to feel like her parents wouldn't give her back. So which wasn't true from the parents' perspective. They just loved her. And so it's one of those sad things, you know, where it's like, oh, like that, like, I wish, you know, you would have talked about your feelings with them, and you wouldn't have spent all of this time, you know. And then Aaron makes her feel like she needs to constantly lose weight because he can't lift her, you know, in the air. And he makes these horrible comments so she goes to therapy. So for me, she wasn't like my favorite character written. Micah loves her a lot. But she definitely grows on me as she kind of comes in. And she's really interesting. She's very different from Bailey for sure. She is not shy at all about like herself and her body. Like, girl's not shy. So she has a nickname in the book as Stassi, Anastasia, Stassi. And what I will say, what I really loved about this is how much his hockey friends loved her. It was so interesting. Like, she calls them her boys, and she like has a unique relationship with each of the guys, but in a way that's not threatening at all to Nathan. She's like, it's not written exactly, but what I got from this is that she's like a moth to a flame, and people just gravitate towards her. And just anyone in her path, she just collects them, and everyone's just like loves her. And I really, really love that about Anastasia. Her roommate, she's roommates with Aaron and Lola, her best friend. Lola is a great friend, like an amazing friend. And Lola becomes girlfriend to one of the hockey players. Or, you know, I'm also confused about that with Robbie. I don't know if he was like in a wheelchair or what was going on, or if I read that wrong. I really couldn't quite grasp Robbie's role. But again, I shouldn't have been distracted in watching Emily in Paris, but she ends up with Robbie. But she's very protective of Stassi. So there's a point where they're moving her out of that house, and Lola's like, I'm going with you. We're not staying with this psychopath. The other thing I did not like at all about this book was her therapist. And her therapist, I think, is with her even at the end of the book. Like, it's finished, but you get like a little bonus chapter 2 years later kind of thing, you know? And I'm just like, and this therapist tells her, oh, because at this point she's kind of like moved in with Nate in the boys' house. But she has this toxic relationship with Aaron. And Aaron pulls some shady stuff, so shady that it gets Nate banned from playing hockey, and it's his senior year kind of thing. So he has to miss a bunch of games. But her therapist is like, oh, you should move back to fix your relationship. Absolutely not. No. I would have dumped Aaron. I would have dumped the therapist. They were all horrible, in my opinion. And clearly bad advice because he's just psycho. And yeah, so that was like the one thing I did not like about this book. But I was actually very pleasantly surprised by Nate, because in a way, even though he was written as like, you know, the it guy, the captain, the most handsome kind of thing, he seemed kind of like, and maybe I'm wrong, but he seemed kind of like, I don't want to say innocent because he's clearly not, but I'll say this, in the spicy scenes, he surprised me, I guess. And there's spicy scenes in this too, which I'm not gonna lie, that was a very interesting experience, knowing that like your daughter, but she's an adult. It's weird. It's weird. I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. It's a very weird experience. But so yeah. But Nate, the way Nate loves her, it's good. It's up there. It's definitely a 10 out of 10 book as well. There's just, other than the therapist, and I just really didn't like Aaron, and I kind of wish that Aaron would have been gone a lot sooner than he was. But I get it. Like, that's part of the story, you know? What story, I guess, would you have had? But I wanted to punch the guy for her. And Nate is just like, he's always there. The guy does not miss a beat with her. And I'm very interested. I'm very interested to have you guys read Icebreaker and Offside. I'm interested to see which guy you liked more, Chase Carter or Nate Hawkins. It's just, I need you guys to read both of these, and then I need you to come back to this video and I need you to vote. Because I'm gonna put a comment. One's gonna just say Chase Carter, the other comment's gonna say Nate Hawkins, and then you just thumbs up which one, because I gotta know. But for me, God, it's almost neck and neck. It's almost neck and neck with them. No, it is neck and neck. I have to say, like, just Chase hits it a little over the edge for me. He does. But I feel like if I reread this, Nate might hit it over the edge over him. I don't know. There is a scene where she falls through the ice. Not in an ice rink, obviously, but kind of in a lake. So read that scene, because that was... The other thing about this book I didn't like, and I was just kind of like, I don't know, my brain just couldn't understand it, but she has a relationship with another guy. His name's Ryan, and just they're just kind of like friends with benefits, and he likes another girl. But even then, even when she's kind of like starting to get into Nate, and Ryan has his heart completely on a different girl, like he is into this girl, he's not in love with Stassi or anything, but they're like in her bed and all snuggly and body limbs intertwined, but they're not doing anything. I'm just like, I just didn't understand it. I didn't understand it at all. Like, how could you... If I was the girl that he was seeing, Olivia, I would have been so mad. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I would have been so freaking mad. I did not understand that. And then she kind of like, oh, Ryan's my best friend. But I'm just like... Oh, there's also a scene where it's Halloween and she plays... She does Nate dirty on this one, like, and Nate's reaction to it, spot on. Honestly, Nate's reaction was completely valid, and the costume that she chose, I'm not gonna tell you what costume she chose, and she kind of nails it, because she kind of does like two costumes, but you have to read the scene. It's so good. And I know I'm not saying anything, because I can't give it away what she does, But, and that's when Aaron shows up and ruins the whole night. Like, I was really excited for Halloween night, and then it just, like, in seconds, it's ripped from you by Aaron. I did not like Aaron. Like, the guy was a lunatic. And the best part is, like, I'm just gonna tell you this because I'm not gonna hold this back, but she gets her redemption so bad when she becomes a single skater and she wins gold at the Olympics. So, in his face. But yeah, God, what else do I say about Nate Hawkins? He is written very similar, if not just in a way identical to Chase, in the sense that his whole focus is on her, and he just is so in love with her. And I also love how he makes her feel, because of all that she's faced and her traumas and what takes her to therapy with that therapist, he makes her feel safe and like everything is okay, and he's just the perfect guy for her. I have to say, overall, which book did I think ended the best in terms of like bonus chapter and everything? Offside. Offside is the best in my opinion. But yeah, they're still in the end completely different. Obviously different set of characters and different storylines, different antagonists and all that. But I would definitely say you have to read both. Like, it would be sad. If you wanted to start reading like hockey style books, you can't read Offside and not read Icebreaker, or Icebreaker not Offside, in my opinion. But I am excited because it looks like Offside is going to have multiple books in the series. All right, so that is it for my review. I now need to work on my book log. This is where I'm going to put in my review, essentially. I read so many books that this is just the reason why I do this, in case you're wondering, is because I like to reread books. And this is helpful in the sense that sometimes, like, when I don't know what to read, I know there's a style that I might want to read, if that makes sense. So I can always, like, flip through. Basically, how I have it. Wait, let me get one that's kind of finished, because I'm still not finished. So I put the cover of the book, and then I have it kind of color-coded, blue for boy, pink for girl. And then these are supposed to be star ratings, like 1 out of 5 stars, but I haven't figured out how I'm doing that. I don't know if I'm doing like a stamping system or a sticker system. I also want kind of like a spice level as well. So I think I might buy some stickers from Etsy for that. So we'll see. But basically now, this whole section between these 2 tabs are the Blue Barbarian series. So I kept them all together. And now we're gonna go on to this new tab, and we're gonna start this tab as like hockey. Note things. I get all this from Dollar Tree, by the way. And get my little flags, because I want them to be consistent. Get my scissors. Okay, so let's just put this back here. And I went ahead and printed out the covers. I also like to cut with a little white trim around it. I just think it frames it in a way. So, FYI. Let's start with Offside. Oh, I also need my glue stick. So then I take a glue stick, and I also use packing tape as well for this. I just really like the feel of the material, if that makes sense. I don't know. But because it's like paper, I just want it to last. So I think kind of laminating it is, yeah, it's just better. So we are going to cut some strips of tape here. Okay, so it feels nice and laminated. And now we're gonna do the same setup as the Blue Barbarian books. We're gonna take a blue for Chase and a pink for Bailey. And I actually did not mean to read Offside. When I bought the book off of Amazon, I'm still waiting for it, but I got it as kind of like a Christmas present or a birthday present for myself. And I was trying to be patient, but after seeing that, the way they just did the TikTok video, I was like, I can't wait. Okay, so then we're gonna take a pink slip and also use glue stick. And then I think the next one is blue. These are the overall ratings. And then this is the overall rating of the overall of the book itself. So Offside is getting 5 out of 5 stars for sure from me. All right, so here's the frame setup, what it looks like. Now I can go ahead and kind of plug in. So I'll just like write what I felt, but I'm gonna reread. I'm for sure gonna reread Offside again today. I just really liked it. I need to go back into the Chase Carter world for myself, and I'm gonna reread Icebreaker too. So I'm gonna be doing that in the next several days, and then I'm gonna write then, because I keep forgetting to do this. I keep forgetting to come in here and putting it down like the moment I read it, because what ended up happening is I immediately read Icebreaker, and because the two stories are so close, I just want to like separate them, you know, come in here, write on Offside after I finish, which is fine because like I will have no problems reading that again. So I just wanted to show you guys the book log entry, and you guys, I have not found my label maker. It got up and walked away. Like I don't even know where this thing went, but I bought a label maker from Walmart, and it's blowing my mind. And I looked everywhere in my craft room, you know, historical romance. So I'll have like sections like that, if that makes sense. So yeah, I am so excited. I'm so happy for my new book log, and I hope you guys kind of enjoyed today's book reviews. But yeah, I guess if I wasn't clear enough, my choice is definitely Chase was the better of the two, although neck and neck. I mean, Nathan was... Listen, he's up there. He's up there. Chase, though, I think Chase was just I preferred. He was my favorite. Of the two girls, I have to say Bailey as well. And in an overall between the two books, oh man, Offside. Offside wins for me, but it's not because this lacked. It's very hard neck and neck. So it's gonna be interesting to keep reading more hockey stuff and seeing if anything is going to trump Offside and Chase Carter, because I just don't know if that's possible. I really don't. But I do also want to say officially, in case you've been following the Blue Barbarian books for me, I guess I'm just like dumping random things into this video now, but Beck wins for me as the guy. There's like 22 novels, you guys. And Beck is the winner for me, which again, so shocked by this because when I first read Beck, I hated him. And it wasn't his book. I didn't read Beck's book till later, but I did not like Beck when he was written. And was it Claire? He redeems himself and he's my favorite Blue Barbarian. So if I were to ever go on that planet, I want you to know I'd pick Beck in a heartbeat. But yeah, I'm gonna reread his book, but I'm gonna go ahead and pick up my Kindle and I'm gonna reread Offside today. So I will link them down below. I'll link my Kindle down below. And in case you're wondering about my materials, composition notebooks, Dollar Tree, the tabs are Dollar Tree. This material is all Dollar Tree. And then you just need a printer for printing the images. So there's that, FYI on that. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's book review. I can't believe I just did book reviews on hockey. Like, who am I? I don't even know who I don't even recognize myself anymore. But it was fun. It was so fun. Just like throwing myself into a different world. And I've been enjoying it. So I'm gonna end it there. My mind is racking, I'm not gonna lie. I'm thinking that I just don't feel like I said enough about Icebreaker. I really kind of glazed more through it than I did Offside. And I think it's because Offside is just sticking out more in my brain. I just feel like, I'll say this, of all the scenes in this damn book, the one that really shook me to my core was when they got in the Uber. Like the song that was playing, it's actually one of my favorite Taylor Swift songs. Cruel Summer is one of my favorite Taylor Swift songs. It's not like, if not, it's like my #1 favorite song. So that song is playing when they all climb into this Uber and it's just them two in the back. Well, all their friends are in the other seats, but okay, I'm gonna leave you with that. And oh, I also thought it was so cute how her dad, Stassi's dad, like, because they meet, they go home together. She takes him home for like Thanksgiving or Christmas, I don't know what, but his dad is like, her dad is so proud of him. Like he just talks about him like everywhere, and they go to the games like, oh, I'm so proud, like, whereas he has like a not so great relationship with his dad. So anyways, I like that. I thought that was really, really cute. So yeah, anyways, I love these books. So that's it for today. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.